And I think that's craven and sick, Andrew.
The other thing these guests have waiting for them, Coogee Beach has been struggling with sewage pollution.
Well, it's actually not sold out.
It is under extensive renovations. The swimming facility, which I'm going to guess includes the pool, these fancy words, swimming facility, it's a pool, spa, leisure deck.
Is Meghan Markle about to pull off her boldest comeback yet? Or are we watching her Australia trip start to crack before it even lands? She's promoting a luxury girls' weekend packed with empowerment, relaxation, and elite experiences. But behind the polished image, the story feels very different already.
And certainly nobody wants to support Harry and Meghan in their quest to completely humiliate themselves and end up in the poorhouse.
What's supposed to look glamorous is starting to show signs of pressure, and the gap between the promise and the reality is getting harder to ignore. We're talking about sudden changes, messy planning, whispers about slow ticket sales, security concerns, and now growing tension involving King Charles himself. And if the latest reports are accurate, this trip may not deliver the victory many expected. It could actually stir up more controversy than applause. Let's start with the royal tension, because this is where things take a serious turn. According to royal insiders, Meghan Markle isn't just flying to Australia for a simple business appearance or a casual public moment. This visit is being framed as something much bigger, almost like a statement. A chance to prove critics wrong, to show influence, and as one expert suggested, it might even come across as a strategic move meant to send a message.
That's not going to happen. Harry and his D-list actress wife are not going to be getting in the way of potential world peace and, basically showing up to get more content for a Netflix special. The meeting between him and Harry, which is being speculated, will not happen. I really can assure you, I think.
That idea changes everything because the timing is raising eyebrows. While Meghan and Prince Harry prepare for a major international appearance, the royal family in the UK is marking an incredibly meaningful milestone, the 100th birthday of Queen Elizabeth II, a historic moment that would normally dominate headlines and public attention, especially for King Charles. But now, that spotlight risks being divided, or possibly redirected entirely. If Meghan and Harry dominate the conversation in Australia, if their appearances generate louder buzz than events in the UK, it creates a complicated picture. It doesn't just look like coincidence, it starts to feel calculated. Some observers believe it gives the impression of quiet competition during one of the monarchy's most symbolic moments, and that's where tensions reportedly start heating up. For King Charles, this situation could feel deeply frustrating.
It is absolutely astonishing. Like, how desperate is this woman? Someone who had the world at her feet, who the late Queen Elizabeth II said, you can spend your life advocating for the Commonwealth. Now she is going to charge poor Aussies $3,000 to spend the weekend with her at a hotel where the pool isn't even open, apparently, and strangers have to share bedrooms.
Reports suggest there is still significant strain between the Sussexes and the monarchy, and instead of easing the situation, this trip might intensify it. From the outside, the distance between both sides doesn't always look peaceful. Sometimes it looks like rivalry, and that perception can shape public opinion fast. Things get even more layered when we remember this is not an official royal tour. It's not formally connected to the institution, and Meghan and Harry stepped away from royal duties back in 2020 to pursue independence, privacy, and freedom from royal structure. That decision was meant to create a clear separation. Yet this trip is starting to look surprisingly familiar. High-profile appearances, public speeches, heavy media attention, organized events, carefully planned visibility. The structure mirrors the format of a royal tour, even if it technically isn't one.
Now, it sounds great. It promises yoga, sound, healing, dinners by the pool, a disco night. Okay, here's what's really going on at the Intercontinental. It is under extensive renovations. The swimming facility, which I'm going to guess includes the pool, these fancy words, swimming facility, it's a pool, spa, leisure deck, due for completion in April. I'm sure it'll be done. An Australian source told GB News the construction at the hotel is a work in progress and, quote, a blot on the view. Okay, the other thing these guests have waiting for them, Coogee Beach has been struggling with sewage pollution.
And that raises an uncomfortable question many people are quietly asking. Are Meghan and Harry still operating in a royal-style spotlight while saying they've moved beyond it? Because if that perception sticks, it can create confusion and possibly frustration, not only for King Charles, but also for audiences trying to understand where the lines really are. And that brings us to the next layer of this unfolding situation. Even without the royal tension, there are already visible cracks forming within the trip itself, starting with the event meant to be the centerpiece of everything. Meghan's exclusive Girls' Weekend retreat sounds incredible on paper. A luxury experience promising connection, relaxation, and inspiration in a carefully curated environment designed to feel elite and empowering. Guests are promised a personal conversation with Meghan herself, plus a glamorous gala dinner that presents the image of sophistication and influence. But then comes the price. Around $3,000 per ticket.
Well, it's actually not sold out, according to Radar Online. They're claiming that organisers are actually reaching out to prospective attendees and even offering them a chance to bring a friend. Seems like desperation.
And when people see that number, expectations instantly skyrocket. At that level, attendees aren't just expecting a pleasant event, they're expecting everything to feel flawless, perfectly organized, and genuinely exclusive. Every detail has to feel premium, every moment has to justify the cost, and every guest expects to walk away feeling like they experienced something rare. This is where things start to look uncertain, because behind the polished promotion, rumors are growing that the event may not actually be sold out. That detail matters more than it seems, because the entire story around this retreat depends on it being seen as a huge success. The image relies on high demand, the idea that people are eager to secure a spot and be part of something special. But if tickets are still available, the excitement can start to feel exaggerated.
Retreat, this Australian retreat that she invited herself to, and they said, sure. And then she said, oh yeah, and then give me $1 million.
The buzz may begin to look carefully amplified, creating the appearance of overwhelming interest, even if the real demand feels less clear. Once that question enters the conversation, it spreads quickly, and suddenly people begin wondering whether the popularity matches the image being presented. People start asking, is this truly the must-attend experience it claims to be, or is the perception being shaped very strategically? That uncertainty alone can shift how the entire event is viewed, especially when expectations are already extremely high. When this situation connects with everything else, the timing, the pressure, the attention surrounding the trip, the move starts to feel less comfortable and more risky. The stakes appear higher, and the margin for error feels very small. Then comes the concern that raises even more questions: security. Meghan and Harry no longer operate under official royal protection, meaning they now rely on private arrangements to maintain safety. At the same time, their visibility remains incredibly high, which creates a complicated balance between public exposure and personal control.
The top ticket, $3,000 Australian dollars to get, that's the price tag for a front row seat to her talk, her word salad garbage talk, and a group photo with the Duchess. The Duchess is a mess. Okay, this place where this retreat, it's the Intercontinental Sydney Coogee Beach, okay?
Reports have surfaced about online trolls discussing attempts to infiltrate the event, mentioning hidden recording devices, discreet cameras, and smart glasses. Whether those threats are realistic or simply online talk, the fact that these conversations exist changes the tone completely. The atmosphere of exclusivity can quickly shift into uncertainty when privacy feels potentially vulnerable. This retreat is meant to feel safe, controlled, and premium. Guests expect comfort, confidentiality, and an environment where they can relax without concern. But when questions about security appear, even quietly, it introduces tension that can affect the entire experience. Luxury is not only about appearance, it is about trust, protection, and peace of mind. When privacy and control feel unclear, the overall perception can quickly become unstable. And when stepping back to view the full picture, the pressure to prove success, the effort to shape the narrative, the visible cracks in planning, and the rising concerns all begin to connect. The situation starts pointing toward one possibility that is becoming harder for observers to ignore.
And the Daily Mail got a worker picking these things up. They call them poo balls, as in poop. Foul-smelling poop balls that keep washing onto the shore. I am reading from this article. Tens of thousands of these lumps.
What if this trip doesn't go according to plan? What if instead of a powerful comeback moment, it turns into a public relations nightmare that everyone is watching unfold in real time? When expectations are pushed this high, any gap between promise and reality becomes impossible to hide, and the fallout can spread fast. Just when it seems like the pressure couldn't increase further, this is where the image starts to seriously crack. Meghan Markle's retreat is being presented as a luxury escape, a polished high-end experience that feels almost dreamlike. But one detail is changing how people see the entire situation, the hotel itself, and more specifically, the condition of the venue. According to multiple reports, key areas of the property, the same location hosting this $3,000 per person exclusive event, are still undergoing reconstruction.
Is there a better metaphor for Meghan Markle, Rob? And I quote, from a giant fatberg. I've never heard the word fatberg, and I love it. In the Sydney sewage system, these balls were confirmed by academics as being composed of, again, metaphor for Meghan Markle, cooking oil, soap scum, hair, and human excrement. We are looking at the poo balls here, full screen. Rob, I give it to you. I give it to you like the gift it is.
You've summed this up. You've put a bow around it. You've handed it on. It's the perfect metaphor.
That detail immediately raises eyebrows because we are not talking about small cosmetic fixes or simple upgrades. We are talking about core amenities, the very features used to justify the premium price in the first place. The pool, the spa, the relaxation spaces, the exact elements people imagine when they picture a luxury wellness retreat may not be fully completed. And that changes the emotional reaction instantly. Because when someone invests thousands into an experience, the expectation is not partial access, it is full immersion. Take a moment to imagine the contrast between expectation and reality. Guests are promised calm, comfort, exclusivity, and premium treatment, yet they could arrive to find construction noise, restricted access, or unfinished areas still in progress. That shift can transform excitement into frustration very quickly, because luxury is not just about branding. It is about delivery. Right now, one question is circulating more and more. Did Meghan know about the venue's condition ahead of time? Because there are only two possibilities, and both raise concerns. Either the venue was not fully prepared and the event continued anyway, or the information was not fully communicated.
It's not sold out. And the reason they know this is a number of people have put themselves on a wait list. One particular person said, look, I just did it for a laugh. I sort of semi put my name down, but have never confirmed or paid any money. And they've now been receiving a number of emails saying, look, we can only hold your place for 24 hours. And then they got another one saying, well, go on then, another 24 hours.
And that brings attention to how closely the details are being managed. And this is her public image connected directly to the experience, which makes it difficult for observers to separate the event from the personal brand being presented. When a name carries influence, expectations naturally rise, and any visible inconsistency becomes part of the larger conversation. The situation begins to feel less like a perfectly curated luxury moment and more like a carefully packaged presentation, a version of exclusivity that looks flawless in promotional materials but may feel different once experienced in real life. And when perception starts shifting in that direction, reactions can become much more intense. Because at this price level, attendees are not simply purchasing access, they are investing trust. Trust that the experience will match the promise. Trust that every detail has been carefully prepared. Trust that what is being offered truly reflects the image being promoted. If that trust feels uncertain even slightly, the impact can extend far beyond a single weekend event. It connects directly to reputation, credibility, and future projects tied to the same brand identity. There are already whispers suggesting this trip could also open doors for expansion into lifestyle ventures within Australia, positioning Meghan not only as a public figure, but as a businesswoman shaping premium experiences and building influence within the wellness and empowerment space. When expectations, branding, and execution all meet in one moment, the outcome carries serious weight. And right now, many observers are watching closely to see how everything unfolds. Here's where the real issue begins.
The petition in Australia is up to 35,000 signatures, and the petition in sum and substance says, we, the Australian taxpayers, do not want an iota of our hard-earned money subsidizing this trip at all.
If the first major experience connected to this image feels unfinished, inconsistent, or even slightly misleading, the entire foundation starts to look shaky. And when the base of something premium looks unstable, people notice fast. This is exactly where the fake luxury narrative starts gaining traction, because it's no longer just about a pool or spa being incomplete. It's about perception. It's about the visible gap between what's being promoted and what may actually be delivered. And once that gap becomes part of the conversation, attention quickly shifts from curiosity to doubt. People begin asking sharper questions. Is the exclusivity authentic or carefully staged? Is the demand truly strong or quietly boosted to look impressive? Is this genuinely a premium experience or simply a premium price attached to a carefully crafted image? When those questions start circulating, the tone changes dramatically. The conversation can quickly move from admiration to skepticism, from excitement to suspicion. And that shift is incredibly difficult to reverse, because once something is seen as overhyped or overpriced, that perception tends to stick.
Yeah, well, the grift is on. Very clear to me. I was talking about this on the show the other day. Obviously, what's going on here is some guy in Australia has gone, I'm starting up a wellness retreat. Who can I get to come and promote it and see if I can get some publicity for it? I know. I'll ring up the grifters in chief. I'll pay them a couple of £100,000. They'll come to Australia and I'll get loads of publicity, and lots of idiots might go there because they might think it's the home of, celebrity wellness.
Even the most polished public relations strategy can struggle to repair that kind of damage once doubt becomes part of the story. When this situation is layered together with everything else, reported tension surrounding the trip, pressure to deliver success, security concerns, and rumors about ticket demand, the bigger picture begins to feel less stable. Instead of looking like a confident rollout, the situation can start to appear fragile, like multiple moving parts trying to stay perfectly aligned under intense attention. What makes this even more surprising is that the event hasn't even started yet. All of these conversations are happening before the first guest arrives, before the first speech is delivered, before the first empowering discussion even begins. That reality alone raises an important possibility that observers are beginning to consider. What if the biggest headline connected to this trip isn't what happens during the retreat, but everything unfolding before it even opens?
And now the only place they can get a gig is Australia for the time being. Poor Australia. We love Australia here at The Nerve. And literally everything they touch turns to shit. And we see it with the poo balls on the beach, where Meghan will be no doubt posting a lovely Instagram. We know there's poo balls on the beach, Meghan. So enjoy it. Enjoy the wafting of that upstream.
Because when expectations are built around perfection, any early crack becomes highly visible and every small detail moving forward becomes magnified. Every complaint, every inconsistency, every moment that feels different from what was promised can quickly become part of a much larger global discussion. And for someone building a polished, aspirational public image, that level of scrutiny creates enormous pressure to deliver flawlessly. This situation is about more than just one weekend in Australia. It connects directly to credibility, and credibility is extremely difficult to rebuild once confidence begins to slip. When expectations are positioned at a luxury level, consistency becomes essential because the audience is not only evaluating the event, they are evaluating the brand behind it. Meghan Markle is not simply presenting an event, she is presenting a feeling, a carefully shaped image built around exclusivity, calm, elegance, and precision. The type of experience that promises seamless comfort and refined quality worth every dollar of the $3,000 price point. But when reports suggest the central venue is still undergoing reconstruction, the contrast between expectation and reality becomes harder to ignore. Not something completed long ago, not something quietly resolved behind the scenes, but something still developing as guests prepare to attend.
And if you want to bring a friend, you're very welcome to bring them as well, which would suggest, I would have thought, that they probably haven't sold out. So these 300 spaces may not have been fully done yet on that sort of basis, but it will raise a lot of money, over $2,000 a pop.
Key spaces such as the pool and spa areas, often seen as defining features of a wellness retreat, may not yet be fully operational. That detail alone can change the emotional tone completely. Because when people imagine a luxury wellness environment, they picture peaceful mornings beside a pristine pool, calming treatments in perfectly prepared spa facilities, and an atmosphere designed for total relaxation. When that vision feels uncertain, the entire experience can start to feel different from what was originally imagined, and that difference becomes part of the larger narrative forming around this highly watched trip. That polished image is exactly what convinces people the price makes sense. It creates the feeling that the experience will be rare, elevated, and completely worth the investment. When something is presented as luxury, every detail is expected to reflect that level of quality. But construction activity simply doesn't match that picture. It doesn't feel exclusive or refined. It feels unfinished. And once that detail becomes part of the public conversation, it changes how everything else is viewed.
And that's what it's all about. It's completely a commercial deal. They're trying to make out that it's a semi-royal visit, right? It's not. It's literally Harry and Meghan on the grift, hoping against hope that they get a free goodie bag at the end of it that might have a Rolex in it. I mean, it's that shallow.
Suddenly, the event is no longer seen purely as aspirational, but as something that may not fully align with the image being promoted. This is where the biggest question starts to take center stage. Did Meghan know about the condition of the venue ahead of time? Because if she did, and the retreat was still promoted as a flawless high-end experience, some observers may interpret that as prioritizing the image over the reality. That interpretation can quickly become uncomfortable because it shifts the focus from delivering luxury to simply presenting the idea of luxury. But if she did not know, that opens a completely different concern. How does a public figure connect their name, their reputation, and their credibility to a major event without being fully aware of such an important detail? Either explanation creates uncertainty because this is not just a casual booking or a simple appearance. This experience is being positioned as something built around her identity, her presence, her conversations, her perspective, her lifestyle image. Naturally, the expectation becomes that everything involved reflects that same level of awareness and control. Right now, that expectation appears to be under pressure because the message being presented and the reported details are starting to feel misaligned.
It's really embarrassing. And I see that she's off to Australia. She's copyrighted the As Ever brand, and she's going to land in Australia and she's going to get booed because people hate the woman. She's ghastly. She's toxic. She's horrible. She's ruined a young, once promising man who's now a husk of his former self, who cannot even stand up for himself and who looks for all the world like he doesn't even want to be anywhere near her. And it's kind of a tragedy in a way.
On one side, there is carefully chosen language emphasizing empowerment, connection, and an unforgettable atmosphere. On the other side, there are reports suggesting incomplete amenities, restricted access to certain areas, and an environment that may not fully match what many imagined when they first heard about the retreat. That space between promise and perceived reality is exactly where the fake luxury narrative begins to gain attention. Not necessarily because people want to criticize, but because the details appear inconsistent. When expectations are set at a premium level, consistency becomes essential. Luxury is not only about appearance, but it is about reliability. It means delivering exactly what was presented without last-minute adjustments or visible compromises. When guests feel they are paying premium prices for something that may still be developing, the reaction can become predictable. Doubt begins to surface. Frustration becomes part of the discussion. Suspicion grows because the question shifts from, how incredible will this be, to, what exactly am I receiving for this price? And that shift can influence perception very quickly. Once that question enters public conversation, it tends to spread. It gets repeated, discussed, analyzed, and amplified. Even the most carefully managed communication strategy can struggle to fully remove doubt once it becomes part of the broader narrative, especially in this situation where attention is already heightened. This moment does not exist in isolation. It connects with other ongoing conversations, including reported tensions, expectations of success, speculation about intentions, and concerns related to organization and safety. When all of these elements combine, the overall picture can start to feel less stable. Instead of appearing seamless and confidently executed, the project may begin to look like something facing significant pressure to deliver perfectly. If everything felt fully aligned, fully prepared, and fully refined, there likely would not be this many questions circulating before the event even begins. Yet here we are, only days before guests are expected to arrive, and the discussion is already shifting away from pure excitement and anticipation toward curiosity mixed with concern. At this point, the real question is simple but powerful. Will this experience truly deliver what has been promised, or will guests walk into something that feels incomplete?
Are you saying that the jam is out? I hadn't thought of that. The jam is reaching its expiry date and needs to be shifted.
Yes. Yes, that is a real thing. They have a warehouse. Netflix has said a warehouse full of jam that they haven't been able to sell. There are credible reports on that.
Will attendees feel part of something exclusive, or will it feel like a premium price attached to a carefully designed image? That difference matters more than anything because perception can shape the entire outcome. Meghan Markle is not only hosting a retreat, she is shaping a lifestyle identity. She is presenting a vision of what her post-royal direction looks like, and moments like this play a major role in defining that path. Events at this level either strengthen the image or highlight weak points, and once questions appear, they tend to grow louder. Right now, those concerns are surfacing even before the doors have opened. Observers are not just watching this trip unfold, they are evaluating it closely. They are looking at the pricing, the promises, the setting, the timing, and asking one direct question: does the experience truly match the cost? When the branding, headlines, and polished messaging are set aside, people begin focusing on the core offer itself. What exactly does $3,000 provide? A conversation, a dinner, the opportunity to be present in the same space as Meghan. For some, that may feel valuable, but for others, it raises doubts about whether the substance matches the positioning. This is where criticism begins to intensify. Some voices suggest the event may feel less like empowerment and more like exclusive access presented at a premium level without clearly delivering the depth expected at that price point. And when expectations are built around transformation or inspiration, the pressure to provide meaningful value becomes even higher. When combined with everything already being discussed, reports about reconstruction, uncertainty surrounding the venue, concerns related to security, and ongoing questions about demand, the situation begins to create a larger narrative that is difficult to ignore. Observers are starting to ask whether this is simply a case of imperfect planning or something more strategic. There is a clear difference between an event that falls short and an event that may appear different from what was originally presented. That distinction is exactly where the conversation is now moving. Once people feel they may have been presented with an image rather than a fully matching reality, reactions can escalate quickly.
Are we, as the Aussie taxpayers, are we going to be forking out money to look after them for security details? That's what I would like to know.
Confidence decreases, skepticism increases, and attention expands beyond the retreat itself to the broader brand connected to it. The focus no longer remains only on the experience. It begins to include the credibility of the individual behind it. At the same time, another contrast is drawing attention. While Meghan is promoting a high-profile, lifestyle-focused event centered around exclusivity and curated experiences, Prince Harry is appearing in a very different environment. He is speaking at a mental health summit, addressing workplace well-being and serious topics that connect with long-standing advocacy efforts. That difference in direction creates two very distinct public images emerging at the same time. On one side, Harry appears positioned in a space that feels grounded, purpose-driven, and aligned with causes he has supported consistently. On the other side, Meghan appears to be moving further into lifestyle branding, curated environments, and structured premium experiences that involve monetized access to her presence. That contrast is becoming part of the broader conversation, shaping how audiences interpret the direction each of them is taking, and influencing expectations about what their future public identities may represent. Whether fair or not, people notice the contrast. They compare, they analyze, and they start asking why the two paths feel so different. One direction can appear focused on public impact, while the other leans more toward business and branding, and that difference naturally fuels curiosity. That curiosity adds another layer to the conversation quietly building in the background. Because this trip is not only about Australia, many observers see it as an opportunity to reshape how Meghan and Harry are viewed as a couple. A moment to appear united, visible, and successful, especially after ongoing rumors suggesting tension between them.
There is no public demand to welcome these two cretins back to the country, or am I missing something?
No, you're absolutely right, Dan.
That possibility raises the stakes even higher. If the trip unfolds smoothly, receives positive reactions, and delivers the experience being promised, it could create a powerful narrative shift. It would reinforce the idea that they remain influential, relevant, and fully in control of their direction. But if the challenges already being discussed continue to grow, the outcome could look very different. Small concerns could become major talking points, and criticism could intensify. Instead of changing the narrative, the event could end up strengthening doubts that already exist. That is the central risk in this situation. It is not only about whether one event succeeds or disappoints, it is about how the result shapes perception moving forward. Right now, the narrative feels balanced between two possibilities. Is Meghan building a strong new identity or trying to recreate a level of influence that has changed over time? Is this a strategic move designed to expand her brand or a high-pressure gamble unfolding in public view? These questions are already being asked, and that timing itself is significant. Normally, major conversations begin after an event takes place. This time, the debate is happening before guests have even arrived. That alone makes the situation feel more intense, because early scrutiny often signals heightened expectations. The complexity of this story is what keeps attention focused. It involves branding, public perception, timing, partnership dynamics, and long-term positioning, all intersecting at one moment. And now the conversation naturally turns outward. What do you think about everything surrounding this situation? Does it feel like unfortunate timing and planning challenges, or does it seem like part of a much larger strategy facing unexpected pressure? The situation has multiple layers, and the full picture may be more complicated than it first appears. If you've got thoughts on this, drop them in the comments. Let's hear what you think. If this breakdown opened your eyes, hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives like this. Don't forget to smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to see it.